Hello, everyone. So I'm here to discuss and go over your first lab for this course, which is going to be the Bridge Lab. And there are a couple objectives that you are going to be setting out to accomplish within each lab, not just this lab, but the first thing first objective is to practice documenting and designing lab experiments. That's the very first thing because the best way to complete your lab experiment is to uh, document it ahead of time. You know, what are you trying to accomplish? You need to document that. Then what is the end goal uh, with regarding to the experiment, right? Because there is an end goal, right, of the experiment. Then there's a layout of the experiment that you're trying to put forth or structure in a physical aspect. You know, you see a lot of times people with lab coats and they have beakers and they're mixing different chemicals, et cetera, et cetera. But there's an end goal to all of those mixtures. So, and such too is within this course, there's an end goal with everything you build for each lab experiment. And for this particular lab experiment, you're going to be building a truss. And if you know anything about trusses or you don't know anything about trusses, you're going to have to learn about trusses in order to accomplish the second objective, which is to apply information you know or learn about trusses to create bridges, because that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be creating a bridge for this particular lab experiment. Now, there are videos down here that you could see, YouTube videos. You can also YouTube your own videos. If you're taking physics or any type of course relating to trusses, you probably have some information on how they work and how to make them strong. And if you've taken statics already, you have some idea about how to make bridges and trusses and what makes them strong, et cetera, et cetera. But you're going to be making this particular bridge at home. Um, and so what you will do, you will utilize toothpicks, glue, tape to develop a bridge that spans so long. I'm not going to make you know, give you a length. You have to define the length that you want your bridge to be. And then you will take note or document how many different toothpicks you're going to have, if you're going to use toothpicks, if you don't have toothpicks, I mean, any type of wood that you may have, be able to find. Hobby Lobby has all types of arts and crafts that you can use, popsicle sticks, whatever you have at your home. You can even like fold paper so many times to make your joints, and not your joints, but I'm drawing a blank here, as your building material for each leg of your truss. And I'm still drawing a blank. But this portion, the line portion, why am I drawing a blank on what that is? Because the nodes is what glues them together. Um, but anywho, you can utilize like paper, just continue to just roll it up, roll it up, roll it up, multiple pieces of them to make it as strong as possible. Now your bridge is still going to be fairly weak, because the end goal is, after you build this bridge, you want to see how much weight it holds. And that's the end goal of the experiment. You want to see how much weight the bridge will hold. So let me show you an example of a bridge. And yeah, you need to, and we'll go through the rest of it, but let me show you this example of a bridge fairly quickly. So here's an example of a bridge that some of my students did in previous semesters. And if you look through the pictures, you see them putting things on their bridge to hold up, to see how much weight their bridge holds. Someone put a remote and a little, looks like a canoe or boat, little toy boat. on their bridge to see how much it holds. Now you need to know approximately how much the remote or your whatever you're placing on top of your bridge weighs, right? You have a scale at home, just put it on there. And I would start light, obviously, because you need to document, how strong your bridge is and how much it and how much weight it'll hold over the course of time, because you want to continue to pile things on until it breaks, you know, because that's that's what you're trying to the true objective is, how much engineering uh how much engineering information do you know and understand about trusses in order to develop a strong bridge out of whatever you have around your house? You know, it's all about applying the strength portion to the bridge you're designing at your home. You're not trying to build a bridge so that people can drive on it, right? But you're trying to apply the knowledge, right? So, and that's what you're trying to achieve here. How well did you transfer your knowledge about trusses to your experimental bridge, right? And so there are some things that I'm going to be looking for, right? You need to apply, right? You're going to apply the cost of your bridge, right? And each toothpick you select or rolled up sheet of paper you select, at what length you selected, it's going to be a cost. And so it's just calculate the cost of your bridge with each member. So there we go. The member is the toothpick, and then the joint is the tape. But sorry, I was drawing a blank there, but forgive me. So each member will cost $1,000, right? And each node costing 3,000. And the node is the glue or the tape. And so each piece of tape or each time you stick some glue between each member joining member, you'll need to write that down. Okay, that's one joining member, that's 3,000. Okay, there's another joining member, that's 3,000. Okay. And then you have all the number of members your bridge or your trust bridge has, and you write that down. Oh, um I have 300 members. So you multiply that times 1,000, right? So I think that's roughly 30,000-ish, roughly. And then you multiply the number of joints you have times 3,000, and then et cetera, et cetera. And you'll jot that down within your report, because you're going to have to write a report on this lab experiment. Um, and then two, you'll jot down, as you span it across whatever length, you'll say, oh yeah, I spanned it across 2 feet, what have you, on different books at a certain height. And I placed 6 kilograms. That's a lot of weight, but I placed 6 kilograms on my truss bridge and it held. And then when I placed an additional kilogram or an additional gram on my bridge or an additional pound on my bridge, it failed. So, you know, you can say with the cost of my bridge, it was able to hold this much weight. And if you do like a little quick formula, so my bridge was the cost per the weight that my bridge was able to hold up, I think it was a fairly good bridge. Or I overspent on my bridge and it was not able to hold any weight. And so then tell me why or how you could have made your bridge more effective or more efficient and more cost effective, right? Uh, if were able to, if you utilize other materials, et cetera, et cetera. And all that'll go into your lab report. Now, there is a simulation, right, that you can use for helping you to design your bridge. Sometimes the simulator works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's not a requirement, right, for you to show me the simulation. It's not a requirement. But if you want to utilize it just to show the strength, because one, you need to know the strength of the material you're using whenever you're creating creating this bridge. Let's see. There we go. So that's a node. Now, hopefully yours are a lot straighter than mine. All right, so then I have 10 members, I have 6 nodes, and then let's see, it doesn't let you actually do a material, but I can now apply some forces to the nodes. Hmm. Now, obviously, this is all just something I'm just making up in my head. Um, then you can hit solve and it'll give you some results. But this is all for you, just helping you design your bridge. This doesn't need to be added to your report. Now you can add it to your report. If you do add it to your report, put it in the appendix and just also include within your report while you're discussing your procedure, things you use to help you build a stronger bridge. All right. Not required to do or utilize. It's just a help tool that you can use. All right. So after you design your bridge, after you do your weight, et cetera, you create your procedure, your suggestions on making it better. Now you go in and you create your report. Now there is a template, and this is the template, and this template can be found on Blackboard. And so these are all of the things you'll need to report, and each experiment would need to be reported on this template. If you create your own template and you're missing information, points will be deducted. Okay. So please utilize the template and help and then walk through the template. Now, you state your objective, your abstract usually just it summarizes your experiment, right? So you'll tell your objective you're trying to accomplish, you'll tell what you were able to accomplish with the experiment based on your objectives, and then you will give a conclusion or give some results, give a conclusion of the results and findings and any suggestions, all in your abstract, all summarized. Then you'll go and lay it out at objectives. You would talk about any formulas you used, if you used any, then you talk about like the cost. That would be a formula you can put here, each node, and then the cost times the number of nodes, cost times the number of members. Um, and so you could discuss that here, just putting the formulas here. Then you'll go to the materials, talk about the materials you utilize. You could break down each step you took to in creating your bridge and making your bridge more effective with the if you utilize the simulator tool, and you just give the results. During each test you did, I first time I put on this much weight, second time I put this much weight on, et cetera, all the way up till it failed. You describe that within your results section, and then your discussion section. It just talks about everything you did from a procedural standpoint, um, how you carried out your experiment will go into your discussion section. So you can summarize each piece. You don't have to make it 300 million words. You can just summarize what you did, right? And remember, it's a lab report. So all of this should be in past tense, right? It should not be in present tense. You should not say, I created, I'm making my bridge. I'm da 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 da. No, it should be I created or I utilized. Everything should be past tense, right? And then your conclusion again just talks about it gives a conclusion to your results and your findings. So after you created your bridge, you were able to uh, keep the cost of your bridge low and the strength of your bridge fairly well, or based on the results, right? And I'm saying the results, I'm saying fairly well, meaning your bridge was fairly strong, right? And that strong could be, it's obviously subjective, because it's your bridge and it's based on how you designed it. So, but you just need to state that in your conclusions. And then, like I said, for your appendix, pictures of your experiment, that's always key because I need to see that you actually did it. And then another thing, if you do a simulator, just throw it in your appendix. And so, hey, that I can see that you did it. And that is pretty much it. So thank you.